You know that feeling when money comes into your account and disappears in the blink of an eye? That's right. A lot of people spend their entire lives thinking the problem is their salary, believing everything would be fine if they just earned a little more. But Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, says something that completely changes the game. It's not how much you earn that determines your financial freedom, but how you see money. Picture this. Your salary is like a toolbox. It doesn't matter whether the box is big or small. What matters is what you do with the tools inside it. If you use those tools only to patch up holes, pay bills, settle debts, buy what you need for the month, the most you'll achieve is to keep the house standing. But if you learn to use those tools to build something new, like a bridge to your future or a solid foundation for your independence, that's when you start leveling up. Robert always says, your salary isn't the final destination, it's the starting point. It's the engine that can take you further if you know how to drive wisely. And here's the secret almost nobody tells you. People who only work to pay bills will spend their entire lives stuck in this endless treadmill. But those who start using their salary as a construction tool begin to open doors that once seemed locked. Think about it with me. What if, instead of seeing your salary as something that quickly disappears, you started seeing it as the seed of a tree that could give you shade and fruit in the future? It sounds simple, but that small shift in perspective can completely transform your financial life. Now that you understand that your salary is a tool, not an end, comes the first big turning point: changing your mindset. Let me tell you something. Few people realize when money hits the account, most people already have a line of bills waiting. Electricity, water, rent, groceries. It seems like the money didn't even warm up in the account before it's gone. But what if you started seeing every dollar that comes in differently? Imagine a construction site. To build a solid house, we need to lay one brick at a time, right? Well, every dollar you receive is like a brick. You decide where that brick will be placed. Will you just use it to patch holes in the present, or will you carefully fit it in to build the walls of your financial freedom? Robert Kiyosaki says that those who truly become wealthy are those who think like builders, not consumers. The builder doesn't waste all the bricks carelessly. They have a plan, a blueprint, a clear vision of what they want to build. And here's the secret. You don't need millions to start building. You just need to decide that every little piece of what comes in will have a purpose that strengthens your future. Want a simple example? When you set aside $10 for an emergency fund, you're laying a brick in the wall of your security. When you invest $50 in a fund that earns interest, you're setting another brick in the foundation of your independence. When you buy a book that teaches you how to handle money better, that's another brick in your foundation. Changing your mindset is exactly that. Seeing every inflow of money as an opportunity to build, not as something that simply comes and goes. Those who do this gradually build a solid house, and it's that house that will protect you from future financial storms. Now that you've understood that money is a brick to build your future, let's take another step, perhaps the most important of all. Robert Kiyosaki often says that the rich don't work just for money. They make money work for them. Let me tell you a quick story that illustrates this well. Imagine two people, I'll call them Anna and Ricardo. Anna works hard, earns a good salary, but uses 100% of what comes in to pay for the lifestyle she's built. Apartment, new car, fashionable clothes, trips, everything looks great on the outside, but in practice, Anna's salary is like a conveyor belt. As soon as the money comes in, it goes out. At the end of the month, the balance is always the same. Zero. Ricardo, on the other hand, understood what Kiyosaki teaches. He also has a salary, but he doesn't depend solely on it. Ricardo sets aside part of what he earns to invest. He bought a small lot of dividend-paying stocks. He also put some money into a real estate fund, which deposits extra money into his account every month. In addition, he does freelance work in his spare time, not because he desperately needs to, but because he understood that the more income sources he has, the less dependent he is on just one employer. Do you know what happens? With Ricardo, every month, in addition to his salary, he has money coming in from other sources. It's as if he had several little taps dripping. At first, the flow is small, but over time those taps increase, and he no longer has to worry so much about his main salary. If one day he loses his job, he won't panic, because money keeps coming in from other ways. Kiyosaki calls this building assets. Assets are things that put money in your pocket, even when you're not actively working. It can be an investment, a rented property, a business you own, or even an online course you created that sells itself while you sleep. The rich focus on acquiring assets, not on increasing expenses. Now you might be thinking, but I don't have a lot of money to invest in property or stocks. Hold on. The good news is that you don't have to start big. The important thing is to start small, but start now. If today you can only set aside $50 a month for a simple investment, great. That's your first asset. If you can offer a service on weekends and earn a little extra, that's another income source. The secret is to use your salary as a seed, not as a harvest. Those who spend everything they earn are eating the seed. Those who invest part of it are planting to reap much more later on. And that's exactly why understanding how money works is the first step to truly starting to build wealth. By the way, since you've made it this far, I prepared a special gift for you. A book with practical tips to organize your finances and take your first steps toward financial freedom. It's right here in the description. Now back to the topic. Think with me. What if you started building those little taps now? A few years from now, you would have more freedom, more security, and less dependence on a single boss or a single salary. That's how the wealthy do it. They don't spend their lives chasing salary increases all the time. They create strategies. So money keeps flowing in from various sources, even when they're not directly working. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, if I earned more, everything would be different? That's a common trap called a scarcity mindset. It's like wearing glasses that only let you see limitations, not possibilities. Robert Kiyosaki highlights that the real financial obstacle is not the size of your salary, but how you think about it. The scarcity mindset makes us believe it's never enough, creating a cycle of dissatisfaction and stagnation. On the other hand, an abundance mindset encourages us to see opportunities in every situation. Instead of focusing on what's lacking, we focus on what we can do with what we have. This shift in perspective is crucial for financial growth. The transition from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset begins with small actions. Recognize and challenge limiting beliefs. Whenever you think, I can't, question that belief. Celebrate small financial wins. Every positive step deserves recognition. Invest in financial education. Knowledge is power. Learning about finances expands your possibilities. By adopting an abundance mindset, you open doors to new opportunities and paths to financial independence. John works as an engineer at a large company and earns $120,000 a year. He has a great salary, but the way he manages his money is a bit impulsive. John loves the idea of living comfortably, so he buys a new luxury car on finance, pays for an expensive house in an upscale neighborhood, and enjoys dining at fancy restaurants every week. He also has several streaming subscriptions and doesn't think twice before making impulse purchases. Despite earning a lot of money, John is constantly without savings and lives paycheck to paycheck. On the other hand, Mike works as a teacher and earns $60,000 a year. Although his salary is lower, he has a completely different approach to his money. Mike lives in a modest home, carefully purchased, drives a used car, and always makes sure to cook most of his meals at home. He doesn't mind appearing to live with less than his friends. What matters to him is that with a disciplined approach, he manages to save a significant part of his income every month, as well as invest in index funds, stocks, and even in his retirement through a 401k plan. After 10 years, the difference between John and Mike starts to become clear. Even with a higher salary, John doesn't have significant savings, is in debt with the car and the house, and depends entirely on his salary. Mike, on the other hand, despite earning less, managed to build a robust investment portfolio, has a solid emergency fund, and has his retirement planned. What happened here? The answer lies in how each managed their resources. Mike, although earning less, was strategic, invested his money wisely, and most importantly, didn't live beyond his means. In contrast, John, despite earning more, didn't make strategic investments and kept spending impulsively. The lesson we can take from this comparison is clear. It's not how much you earn that determines your wealth, but how you manage and invest what you have. Financial discipline, the ability to live within your means, and investing wisely are the greatest factors for building wealth. And this holds true regardless of your salary. So instead of focusing on the size of your salary, ask yourself, how can I use what I have more wisely? The more you invest now and develop good financial habits, the more prepared you'll be to secure your financial future no matter how much you earn. Implementing the 30% rule can be a real game changer in your financial life. Imagine the power of having a clear plan for your money. By dividing your salary into 3 parts for savings, investments, and personal development, you create a clear vision of what you're doing with every dollar that comes in. It's no longer a mystery or something you leave to chance, but rather a planned strategy for your success. This clarity is what truly transforms the way you handle money. When you know exactly how much you should save, how much you can invest, and how much you can spend on your own learning, you stop living in the dark when it comes to finances and start moving toward a safer and more prosperous future. And that creates an incredible sense of control. But clarity is just the beginning. Discipline comes next. When you start following this rule every month, you build a powerful habit. It's no longer about living in fear of overspending or running out of money at the end of the month. You become the master of your money, making smart and conscious decisions. Over time, this discipline reflects in many other areas of your life, and you'll feel stronger and more confident about your finances. Now, the real magic starts to happen when you realize that the anxiety you used to feel about money begins to disappear. Often, worry about the financial future comes from not knowing what to do with what you earn. But with an emergency fund, investments, and a focus on your personal growth, you create a safety net that protects you. You'll notice that once you have these steps under control, anxiety starts to give way to confidence. And trust me, financial confidence is one of the greatest sources of peace of mind you can have. If saving 30% of your salary seems hard at first, don't worry. Start with what you can. The most important thing here is to build the habit of setting aside a portion of your money for these 3 pillars. You can start with 10% or even less, but what matters is taking the first step. Every small effort you make to follow this path brings you closer to your goal, until one day you look in the mirror and admire how you've become a financially organized, disciplined, and secure person. The secret doesn't lie in the exact amount you set aside, but in having a commitment to your future. Over time, you'll see your financial situation improve, and most importantly, you'll feel that you are in control of your life. And that, my friend, is the true power of financial freedom. The key to transforming your financial life isn't about taking a giant leap, but about taking small, consistent steps. The discipline of setting aside 10%, 20%, or even 30% of your salary every month will add up over time, creating a solid foundation for your financial future. Step by step, you'll start to see your emergency fund grow. This fund will be your safety margin, your support in difficult times. Having this reserve will give you peace of mind, knowing that if something unexpected happens, you won't face financial trouble. Moreover, as time goes by, this fund will expand and you'll have more security to face challenges that may arise in your personal or professional life, but it doesn't stop there. With the money you set aside for investments, you start to multiply your income in a strategic way. Imagine the joy of seeing your money work for you, investing in stocks, real estate funds, or even building a diversified investment portfolio. This not only increases your financial security, but also creates opportunities for you to achieve your dreams, whether it's buying a house, traveling the world, or securing your retirement. And the best part, over time, this discipline of investing and saving not only improves your financial health, but also accelerates your professional growth. As you invest in your learning and personal development, the 10% for courses and books, you become a more skilled person with more knowledge and abilities to seize new opportunities. This can translate into salary increases, promotions, or even a new career. When you dedicate yourself to your personal growth, the return is not only financial, but also emotional, as you feel more fulfilled and confident. What many people don't understand is that by starting with small steps, like setting aside part of your salary for savings, investments, and development, you are planting the seeds for something great in the future. You might not see immediate results, but with discipline and patience, those small steps turn into big achievements. Remember, the secret of financial success lies in consistency and in the commitment to take these steps every day with a long-term focus. Each time you follow these principles, you are transforming your financial life in a way that will last. It doesn't matter where you are now. With discipline, focus, and patience, you will reach your financial goals, and beyond that, you will achieve your financial freedom. And that is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Now that you understand the importance of clarity and discipline in your finances, let's talk about the real impact of following these steps. As you begin to apply the 30% rule, you'll see that the results will show up over time, not in a magical or instant way. It's the power of small daily steps that over time result in a great financial transformation. First, the emergency fund. This is your safety cushion. Imagine being prepared for any emergency without having to worry about taking out loans or using a credit card. When you have an emergency fund, you have autonomy and peace of mind. You're no longer anxious about life's crises because you know that if something happens, you are protected. You don't need to have millions, but over time, you'll see that this fund grows sustainably and becomes increasingly solid. Next, the investments. This is where the magic starts. When you begin to invest, the money you earned by working starts working for you. It might seem like a small step at first, but as you keep investing and see your investments grow, the feeling of being in control of your financial situation increases. This gives a sense of freedom. And even more importantly, these investments can generate sources of passive income, meaning that over time, your money generates money consistently. Oh, and just a quick pause here, I've prepared a special gift for those of you watching this video. It's a book with practical tips to help you organize your finances and take the first steps toward financial freedom. But look, there are only a few copies available. So if you want to secure yours, the link is here in the description. Hurry up and grab it before it's gone. Now let's continue. At the same time you take care of your financial life, you should also invest in your own professional growth. The people who grow the most financially are those who are constantly improving, whether through books, courses, or acquiring new skills. When you dedicate yourself to learning more, you become more valuable in the job market, open doors to new opportunities, and prepare yourself to advance in your career. Over time, you'll see that each step you take is not just a move toward a financial goal, but a form of personal transformation. Every dollar you invest and every skill you acquire brings you closer to a better version of yourself. The process of organizing your financial life is, in fact, the process of personal growth. Ultimately, the most important thing to understand is that change doesn't happen overnight. Don't expect to see big results from one day to the next. The secret lies in patience and consistency. By applying these principles daily, you'll see that over time, your finances will transform in ways you never thought possible. The most important thing is to take the first step and keep moving forward. One of the biggest barriers people face on the path to financial freedom is the scarcity mindset. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to save money because I don't earn enough," or "my salary isn't big enough to invest"? These limiting beliefs are often the biggest obstacles to your prosperity. The problem isn't the salary itself, but the way you see money and your financial situation. The scarcity mindset is one that always feels there's a lack, as if nothing is ever enough. It makes you believe that what you have is not sufficient, that your opportunities are limited, and that you'll never be able to reach your dreams. This mindset creates a vicious cycle where you feel stuck, paralyzed, and unable to act. The secret to breaking this cycle and starting to thrive lies in changing that mindset. Replace negative thoughts with more positive and empowering ones. Instead of thinking, "I don't earn enough to invest," switch to, "With what I earn, I'll find a way to start investing, even if it's just a small amount." That changes everything. By adopting an abundance mindset, you open new doors and become more creative, finding ways to increase your income, invest wisely, and make your money work for you. It's not about how much you earn, but how you manage what you earn. A person who earns little but has an abundance mindset and a plan can be far more successful than someone who earns a lot but has a scarcity mindset, spending carelessly and never preparing for the future. Every time you think positively about your salary and commit to making better financial choices, you're taking a concrete step toward transforming your life. Remember, what you think about money determines how you handle it. If you believe you can achieve financial freedom, you'll find creative ways to invest, save, and grow. So the first step is to change your way of thinking. Recognize that, regardless of how much you earn, you have the power to change your financial situation. Start focusing on what you can do and what is possible, not on obstacles or limitations. This mindset shift is the foundation for financial success and for reaching your biggest goals. Becoming wealthy, even on a small income, is absolutely possible. The secret doesn't lie in how much you make, but in what you do with what you have. The key to financial freedom is in your choices and the mindset you adopt. Many people think they can only improve their lives if they make more money, but that's not true. What really matters is how you manage your money. When you change the way you see money, you start to realize there's always something you can do to improve your situation. The first step is to have the right mindset. If you believe it's possible to achieve your financial goals, you're already on the right path. It's not about how much you earn, but about how you organize and use that money. Most people end up living the way others live, spending without thinking and without any planning. But true change begins when you start to control your spending. Cut out what's not essential and begin to invest wisely. Investing is another important pillar. Even if your salary isn't big, you can start investing, even with a small amount. Start where you are. What matters is taking the first step. By investing, you make your money work for you, And that's one of the secrets to achieving financial independence. Don't wait until you make more to start. Begin with what you have, because time will be your ally. Also, never stop learning. Financial education will help you make better decisions with your money. What you know can be the key to your financial success. Study, read, seek new knowledge, and apply it in your daily life. As you learn, you'll be more prepared to make the best decisions. Believe me, no matter how much you earn, if you follow these principles and act with intelligence, patience, and discipline, you can build your wealth. There's no big secret, just smart, consistent decisions. Now is the time to take the first step. Are you ready to change your financial life? If you believe you can, then start today. Remember, the journey to wealth begins with a single step. If you think this video can help someone, like it and share it with your friends who also need this financial life change. Everyone deserves the chance to achieve financial freedom, and together we can grow and reach our goals. Don't miss the opportunity to inspire those around you. Let's transform lives, starting with our own.